So I wasn't really planning on filming today, but it's been a while. And I think I just kind of figured out why. So I found out I was pregnant on last Friday, so a week ago. And Matt and I are really, really excited and actually not at all surprised. We both kind of knew, so it's definitely a good thing. I'm 5 weeks, I'll be 6 weeks on Monday. So, super, super early. And ever since I found out, I kind of felt like I was downhill skiing a little bit, like crashing at the bottom. And I've been really just beating myself up for not feeling good and feeling really frustrated and confused because I found out, right after I'd had my business and everything all set up and I was on this trajectory, and then all of a sudden it was like I couldn't go that way anymore. Like the path was just covered in like sticky stuff and like I just couldn't push through, and I was being called to go this other direction of turning inward. And it was perfect timing because I'd signed up for a free 5-day Yoni egg immersion, which if you don't know what that is, I'm going to do a post on my Instagram and Facebook about it, but it's a crystal egg. It's literally like a little crystal egg. I should have brought it up here. And gets you in touch with your yoni, which is like your womb, vagina space. So basically the progression was making a commitment to my self-pleasure and loving myself by purchasing some things for my birthday, and then finding out that I was, starting my business, finding out that I was pregnant, felt like I was crashing and burning, and then today I really got into the Yoni egg experience, even though I'm like a few days behind. And I really realized that pregnancy is triggering for me. And I didn't expect that at all, and it's kind of really thrown me for a loop, and it's brought up a lot of old feelings and self-doubts and self-dialogue that I had when I was pregnant with Lyric. And I've been doing a lot of correlating. Obviously, I have tons of pregnancy left to explore this, but I just didn't expect it. It just came out of nowhere, and I'm looking back on my pregnancy with Lyric and how for a while I felt so connected. Then I had my intestinal obstruction, and even that version of connected before that happened wasn't as connected as I am right now. Because I wasn't intentional about it. It was just kind of like I always knew I wanted to be a mom, so it's kind of like that first pregnancy kind of connection of just being so excited and being able to just kind of push everything else away. So I had my intestinal obstruction, and then my birth plan went to shit for a while. I wanted to give birth at a birth center. Actually, I wanted to have a home birth, but I was too scared. So I was going to the birth center, and then I got sent. Then I was going to have to give birth in the hospital, no questions asked. Well, then my midwife was super awesome and fought for me, and I was able to transfer my plan back to the birth center. But the damage was kind of already done. I was really confused and really conflicted, and at that point I was just listening to whatever my care provider told me to do, and I felt so disconnected from my body, from Lyric, from the whole experience. And even now, I'm learning to let this go. I might cry, just fair warning, but I don't really remember anything after my obstruction, and what I do remember feels like I'm looking through someone else's eyes. That's how disconnected I was. Even the birth, the Yoni egg experience today really brought back some memories of just like feeling super out of control and having other people touching me and doing things to me and not understanding what was, like logically understanding what was happening, like cervical checks and when my water broke and such, but not really like having any active participation in those decisions or that consent. And I've always thought of my birth experience as like it was okay, because I gave birth in the building that I wanted to, sort of. but I was just so thrilled to not be in the hospital, right? So now that's taking on a different shape though. And now that I'm pregnant again, it's been really triggering all of that self-doubt and like fear of my body and that disconnection even. I felt disconnected from myself in these last few days. And going through these like major ups and downs, which is probably hormones to some degree, but it's also feeling connected and then feeling disconnected and then feeling connected and then feeling disconnected. And when I feel disconnected, that mean girl in my head just starts going and yelling all kinds of crazy things at me and wants to get my anxiety going, like thoughts of miscarriage, or what if I do have an unassisted birth and something happens? Are people going to ridicule me? We've chosen not to do much medical intervention at all with this one. And so that mean girl in my head is just getting all of this started. Like, what if something happens? I'm already thinking totally future of how's my diet going to have to change? Because my blockage was halfway through my pregnancy with Lyric, and then I had to eat low roughage food, which is essentially a low fiber. So for a vegan, that's really tough because of all the vegetables and stuff that I eat, and even like the protein, like eating beans, anything with a skin, basically think of it that way, or like celery, how it has fiber in it, asparagus, any of that stuff has to be like mashed, blended, or cut into really tiny pieces. And so last time I completely fell out of love with food. I was so disconnected from my body. I can't even explain to you, but it's like I couldn't feel it. Like I could feel the labor and I knew what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't really out. The only thing I think that got me through was I was able to establish a connection with Lyric. I talked to him the whole time. The whole time I was like, baby boy, we're in this together. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. Let's do this. And in the last push, my intuition, that internal true voice of mine just like fired through and roared at me like, this is it. You can do this. And then I pushed him out. But I still felt so disconnected. I was afraid to look at my vagina, touch my vagina, anything in that region, because I honestly didn't know what it was before that. And so to have it go through birth, which in my mind was like super, super traumatic, I was scared. I thought it was going to be scary and ugly and crazy looking and embarrassing. And several weeks after I gave birth, I finally got up the courage to look, and I was like, oh, it looks fine. And but I still have struggled with that disconnection. I have been pretty fucking convinced I have a vaginal prolapse ever since Lyric was born. I don't. I've had 2 professionals tell me that. But it's that disconnection with my yoni, with my body. And so all of this, I think, has culminated at the perfect time. And this pregnancy, this baby's already teaching me so much about myself and my body. And so instead of all of this outward energy that I was feeling before, I'm really being called to direct that energy inward and to devote the amount of time and energy that I devoted to starting the Undula, which I'm still going to continue with, but I think it's going to look different than I anticipated. And I'm actually really grateful for this experience and being triggered, because this is going to be like just valuable fucking information for my clients down the road. Because I'm sure many people can relate to this. You know, you get pregnant and you, whether it's a good or a bad thing for you, it brings up all kinds of questions, all kinds of doubts, all kinds of gaps in your relationship with yourself. And that's why I've been really quiet, because I couldn't verbalize that until today. I just was like, I'm in this funk and I can't get out of it and I don't know what to do. And I kind of felt that grasping, you know, like looking for answers and people to just tell me what was the problem. And so I'm super grateful for Yoni Pleasure Palace and doing this 5-day free immersion. I'm hoping I can get through all the exercises in the couple days that I have left, but more than likely I'm going to end up paying for the first week of the membership, because I'm really interested in developing this. Kind of builds on my pelvic floor physical therapy as well. My PT is super, super thorough and is very cognizant of any sort of trauma or anything like that, of which I've had much. And today, I'm going to do a post about it too, but today I really had a moment where I was recounting, trying to remember any time in either my sexual history or my pregnancy or any of the medical stuff that I've had going on when I was actually asked consent. And I don't think I can think of a time. I'm 28. I've been sexually active since I was 16. I have been in and out of hospitals my entire life, and I can't remember a time when I've been asked consent. I actually recently have asked Matt to ask consent because I've never had that. And I think that's why reclaiming my body, and my post is going to be about, it's going to be what I shared in the group about my why for doing this Yoni practice. But it's really about self-ownership, and even asking my Yoni for my consent, for when I want to self-pleasure. Do I have your consent? Does this feel okay? And the mantra this week has really been like, you are safe. I am safe. Safety, security, and ownership is the theme. And I think those are going to continue throughout my pregnancy. And I have a lot of work to do. Now I have a different direction, and I'm struggling a little bit to be brave enough to just walk that path and let the other one go. As someone who was always a straight A student and is a perfectionist, despite the fact that I fucking hate that word and don't want to be described that way, I am a perfectionist. It's hard for me to just kind of take a step back from my business and really reevaluate where I'm going from here. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's why I've been absent for a while. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm really going to be actively involved in my home life, in my personal life right now. I'm trying really hard to stay away from like setting time boundaries on that, because listening to my intuition and what my intuition's telling me, and when I show up on social media, when I show up with videos, whatever it is, it's going to be because I'm truly inspired to do so. I'm really healing and moving away from that like need to push, force, control, which is so difficult for me, but I know that's where I'm being called to go, is to let go and release and listen. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys listening. I know it's an awkward topic for some people, but let's change that. Let's make this an open topic, because in my line of work, especially in birth, it's essential. Everything I just talked about is essential. And now I know that better than anyone. I didn't have someone to teach me these things when I was pregnant last time, and I feel so incredibly grateful that I have the support and the teachers that I do right now to help guide me through this. And I'm just going to keep listening and try to remain open, try to keep showing up. But the content's going to be, I think, taking a little bit of a different direction for a while. So I appreciate you guys listening, and let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'm doing the Yoni Egg 5-day free immersion through Yoni Pleasure Palace. I'll link all the stuff below. And I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear your stories of how you have established self-ownership and security and safety within your own body. So I love you guys. Namaste. I'll see you soon.